thought that the thing that they needed to do most was score some goals, but they didn't do that. But but they're very similar teams, and I think that we'll see it open up a little bit more in the second half.
Both coaches had their thoughts on the keys to the game. Let's hear what they had to say.
Keys to beating Ohio State will be for us to be balanced defensively and also to have good mobility in the offensive third of the field and to finish our chances.
I think the keys for us today, first of all, defensively, is to make sure we contain the Indiana midfield and prevent them from creating and getting involved in scoring chances. And on the other end of it, we have to get forward. We have to take some risks and push people into their penalty area and create scoring chances for ourselves.
Sounds like the pretty basic status quo of tactical advice from both guys there.
Absolutely. Like I said, they're very similar. They're having trouble scoring this year, and today they needed to play solid defensively. I think both teams have, but I think as far as what Coach Bloom said about risks, I don't think we saw as many risks with Ohio State, but they had a little bit of trouble containing the Indiana midfield toward the end of the half.
Knowing that this is really a must-win for both teams, you'd think that both teams are going to emphasize going forward even more in that second half.
Yeah, and we showed really what the problems were in the first half. They took Will Bruin out, their best forward, and Indiana's got a spark off the bench, and I think that might have been what we saw more of, was win more chances in the second half of the first half.
Also seen some very good goalkeeping on both ends. A fifth-year senior in Sikansky for Ohio State doing a great job, and Kane, he's been the backstop for the entire season, and while he might be playing with a bit of an injury, he's also been very sufficient.
He's been very tough, and he had a little bit of trouble with that ball that got in behind the defense and had to be cleared off the line. But other than that, he's been rock solid.
All right, the second half to determine a key winner in the Big Ten regular season race. We'll come back with it right after this on the Big Ten Network. Getting ready for the start of the second half here in Columbus. We are scoreless, Ohio State and number 22, Indiana. We are pleased now to be joined by head coach John Bloom of the Ohio State Buckeyes. Coach, thanks for the time. Your thoughts on that first half from your club?
We absorbed a little bit more pressure than I was hoping that we would, and that's one of the things we addressed at halftime, is that our aggression level and our defensive pressure has to improve for us to get back in this game.
You mentioned needing to take offensive risks. What are some of those, some of the pros and cons of that? Did you see much of that in the first half?
Well, I think we created a couple good chances, but we're not possessing the ball long enough and getting enough numbers forward to really trouble them right now. So that's something else we talked about, and hopefully we do a better job in the second half. It's going to be a very tight game.
John, your goalkeeper, Drew Sikansky, has played very big so far for you in that first half.
He's had several big saves and kept us in it, and you know that's what you need out of your goalkeeper, and hopefully now we can make this our half.
Thanks for the time, Coach. Best of luck in the second half.
Thank you.
That is Ohio State head coach John Bloom. And so the number 22 Hoosiers and the Buckeyes coming off midweek victories, each respectively, but trying to climb up the ladder in the conference as Che Kane back out there, the Indiana goalkeeper, the senior from just outside of Chicago. He'll be in the goal to the left on your screen. To the right is the fifth-year senior, Drew Sikansky, as we are underway in the second 45 from Jesse Owens Memorial Stadium.
Sikansky with 5 saves. He was pretty busy in the first half. As we mentioned, Indiana getting a little bit more of a little better of the play in the second half of the first half.
Hagedorn will toss in up the near sideline. Teamstra, just a rookie out there, battling with Nosheng. Comes to the feet of Adlard in the mid-third. Ring. He's gotten forward a little bit throughout this match, trying to sneak it to Adlard, but Ohio State's Rome will play away.
Rowan had a good half as well. Got forward and joined the attack. Had kept he had a busy half, really, dealing with the pressure coming off the flanks. But all in all, a good half for Roan, coming off of, as I mentioned earlier, his first goal of the year against Cleveland State on Wednesday.
First 11s for each team intact as they began the match, but Josh, you could almost say as that first half wore on, the substitutions were the one that kind of picked up the pace in the match.
Yeah, I think that was the big difference especially for Indiana. With you would think bringing Will Bruin off would be sort of maybe a detriment to the team, but no, they have a very solid bench, and they got a spark, just as Coach Freitag said they would. They have good players who come on and really work their tail off, as he says, for this team.
Varzia, 1v2. He was in a crowd of crimson and cream. And the foul going the other way with an advantage, but a little bit of a shove afterwards.
Yeah, Mellencamp not happy with that tackle, and we'll play on.
Hagedorn taking in deep, and it's 1-0 Indiana. Coming out of the back, Lee Hagedorn rips the cords, and the Hoosiers strike first.
I was sort of baffled by how easily he got into that spot right there. As you see, he just dribbles right in, and no one picks him up. He just blasts a left-footed shot into the far post past a diving Sikansky, and then we have our first goal just a few minutes into the second half.
The redshirt junior, and as you duly noted, from Columbus, Indiana, has his first goal of the season to complement 1 assist. Hoosiers are a perfect 8-0 when they draw first blood. And they play with the lead as it comes not 2.5 minutes into this second half. Noshang serves it back. Alexander trying to cut it inside, and Rome toe poked it away. Here's Alston coming forward.
Coach Bloom saying at halftime that they got a little bit more pressure than they were anticipating. That pressure is not let up in the second half. That second half break, if anything, they've stepped things up a little bit.
We'll see if the goal opened things up even more. Here's the back heel, Irizarry. Served in, but will roll easily to Kane. Well, Mike Freitag saying at the half that the team looked like they just got off the bus, but I think he delivered the message quite clearly at the locker room speech.
There's no question about that. They really came out with a fire, and they've got the 1-0 lead, which if this series is any indication of the way things have gone in the past, who knows? This could be our final scoreline with as good a defense as Indiana has. But Coach Bloom did say that he did want to take more risks, so that was a thing they wanted to address at halftime. So maybe we'll see a little bit more of an attacking style from a traditionally defensive team.
Wind picks up a bit more as Gold came forward. It's a Hoosier goal kick. It's Lee Hagedorn. Came up from the back and remarkably had a lot of area to work with. Teamstra.
That could have been also a product of the zone defense. You know, you're dribbling right through that. You do leave some space open, which does sort of leave you susceptible to very talented teams who can dribble very well. And now you get a player coming out of right back who can dribble through your defense. Then it's always a good thing.
Kane swinging that forward into the Columbus half. Those Buckeyes will sit back as the Hoosiers will take this free kick after the Ohio State foul. Adlard delivers them all. Served in. Sikansky got a little bit of rugged play and is able to come up with it after he collides with Will Bruin.
Again, we mentioned that Sikansky, it's a bit of a shoulder injury, and he's obviously good enough to play, but playing with an injury, and so you worry about, I'm actually not sure which shoulder it is, but he did come down hard on that right shoulder. So either way, injured or not, that didn't feel very good.
Sikansky booting it forward. Bruin out wide, turned in, then away. Again, Indiana starting to favor that left flank as they did toward the end of the first half to begin this second, leading by a goal.
They've got Jeff Marsh over there. He's definitely had a busy day dealing with that left-sided attack.
Mellencamp trying to lose Gable. He's got support from Ring. There's the goal scorer, Hagedorn. Ring keeping it alive, 1v2, and good work toward the touchline. He'll draw a corner.
Got Gable back there defending for Ohio State. I think really was not just Coach Bloom, but I think multiple coaches have said that his injury in the national championship game was probably one of the main reasons why they lost that 1-0 lead and eventually lose the national championship game to Wake Forest.
Out swinging ball and through the face of goal as Noschang had a chance. Returned back, and then the half volley that came from Mellencamp is well arrived.
Yeah, some indecision there from Sikansky, and you don't like to see that when in dangerous balls like that played right in, and Mellencamp wasn't able to get much on the follow-up, but hey, you don't like to see that. You could see that little hesitation, and even that like 1 or 2 second hesitation could cost you a goal in those plays.
Mellencamp using Sam Scales as a ladder is called for the foul.
Mellencamp, it's, as you would assume, even if you weren't familiar with the program, is the nephew of the famous singer. And what's interesting is that him and Doug DeMartin of Michigan State have strange situations. They're both have their names on facilities at their universities. So they play at the John Mellencamp Pavilion for their indoor practices. So that's a little weird for him, I imagine. And Doug DeMartin plays at DeMartin Stadium in Michigan State.
Hoosiers will throw in. Next Sunday, it's a men's soccer conference showdown when Northwestern takes on the Spartans of Michigan State. Coverage starts at 1 p.m. Eastern only on the Big Ten Network. And another important game in the conference regular season race winding down.
Michigan State could win it with a win there. That's their last game of the Big Ten schedule, and that would be the best Big Ten showing in Joe Baum's career. And he's been there 32 years, and he's having one of the best years he's ever had. What a great way to go out in his final year at East Lansing.
No questions asked. Varzia floated that into the area as Scales came down on it. But his first touch was right at the keeper, Kane. Hoosiers scoring a couple minutes into this second half. Lee Hagedorn as they break forward here. Noschang, it's 2 for the Hoosiers. Indiana has doubled its lead 10 minutes into the second half.
That was a great ball by Noschang. Had the patience to go around the goalkeeper. Some people would have panicked and taken the shot right away, but a great ball played in behind the defense, and he runs onto it, takes an extra touch, and goes right around Sikansky and slots it home for the 2-0 lead.
Well, again, Hoosier defenders getting forward. And you can't say enough about the play today of Kevin Alston, who set up that goal for Noschang.
Well, he's got another year of eligibility left, but as Coach Freitag said before the game, he said that the pros are already calling him, asking, hey, is he going to come out? Is he going to come out? We'll be interested. But he has said himself that he doesn't want to come out. He wants to finish school, and that is definitely very admirable.
His third of the campaign, as you see. Ohio State earns a corner at the other end.
Noschang going into the game, 2 game-winning goals were the first 2.
Irizarry has cut it back. Off the deflection, Ohio State has cut the lead in half.
What a goal by Irizarry, right off the corner kick, and he just volleys it, a little half volley right in traffic. I'm surprised it got through, but here it is again. Varsia serving it in off the head, and he just half volleys it right at Kane and right over him. Just too much on that ball. Brilliant goal.
The team leading scorer and his 6th. Makes it a 1-goal deficit. Not a minute after Noshang had made it 2-0.
We're gonna get a foul here against Noshang fighting for the ball, but talking about that goal in the assist coming off a set piece from Varsia, this is something that is not a strength necessarily for Ohio State. Last year with Brunner and Xavier Balk playing here, and that was probably their biggest strength and leading them to the national championship game last year. But this year they've lost 4 key players. They've lost probably half of their best players. They've come back with these new players and retooled, and it's just not a strength for them, but they score right off the corner kick.
From a creative standpoint, Roger Espinoza, only playing a season, had a phenomenal year and certainly played his best soccer as the NCAA tournament rolled along. But for Ohio State, a big answer, as we have seen 3 goals within the first 10 minutes of this second half. That old adage that a goal can really open things up, it certainly has this afternoon.
Usually one goal games are the most difficult for teams because they usually are pushing forward to try to equalize and they give up a goal. But now at this point, you want to see what Ohio State comes out with down 2-1. They still have a good 33 minutes to go here, so we'll see what kind of shape they take as the clock continues to tick.
You mentioned 1 goal, Josh. Ohio State has played in 12 one-goal games this year. A record of 6-4-2, a foul right at the halfway line in front of the technical area. So the Hoosiers getting goals from Lee Hagedorn and Kevin Noshang. Danny Irizarry responding moments later. And we sit at 2-1. Deliberation over where this free kick is to be taken. It'll be Ehrhoff, the junior from Dublin. Held up at the top of the arc before it's Rich Balkin to clear away. And he'll take it himself with some pace. Balkin took it a good 70 yards before he left it back. Here's Alexander linking with Bruin. Sent in and then redirected back inside, where Sikansky will come up with the loose ball.
That was all started by Balkin with that big 70-yard run all the way up the field and getting things going. Not an unusual task for him, a converted midfielder and a wing player, but now moving back to playing center back, which is an interesting conversion. Usually when wing players in the midfield drop back into defense, it's usually just to play outside defense, but he's played very well in the middle, and as we mentioned earlier, he's playing with a broken nose, and that's pretty risky.
Sarkodie out wide. Noshang touched it back to settle it down, and now Bruin breaks into the clear. On the far side of the 18, great job by Rome to dispossess.
Alexander probably should have pulled the trigger early on that. I know what he was trying to do, and the defender beat him to it, but probably should have just ripped it right off the bat. Probably would have a better chance.
Clearly evident that the Hoosiers back four not afraid to come forward, adding to the deliverance of their attack in this second half, as we've played nearly a quarter hour with IU leading by a goal.
Sarkodie can come forward, obviously, but he's usually the last man back in the center, but really everybody can go for it. Hagedorn, Balkan, and Alston, of course. Usually you see teams with, they have like 1 or 2 guys that are the stay-at-home guys, but Indiana doesn't have any of those. They just have somebody who just takes turns staying back, and every single one of them can get forward and join the attack, giving them a different look.
Noschang delivers, but right at Sikansky. He'll clear away his club forward as Ohio State maneuvering right to left on your screen, wearing the home white. It's the road crimson for Indiana. Bruin trying to lurk around Teamstra there before he uses his keeper as a shield. Just turned back to the touchline on the near side with Gable to throw in. From Jesse Owens Memorial Stadium, it is Big Ten Soccer Sunday. Ohio State and number 22 Indiana in a crucial Big Ten regular season match as the conference winds down. Postseason play almost upon us. Neil Sika, Josh Hakala. Glad you could join us with our great Big Ten Network crew.
Comes a long throw from Gable, another one of his weapons.
Ohio State looking to get level as Gable, that long two-handed lob, got nutted away and results in an Indiana goal kick.
Yeah, Gable is the best defender at the back, and he can play anywhere on the field if he needed to, but he is definitely a set-piece weapon. He gets involved, he gets into the box, but also has those long throws. He's got a bit of a track record. He scored that phantom goal against Michigan last year in the tournament, or I should use the quotes around scored, but gets credit for the goal, and looks like Kane comes up limping again with that lower leg injury.
Sends it forward to midfield. The flag is up as Noschang whistled for the offside.
It's too many offside calls. Both defenses sort of playing back.
Coming up next on the Big Ten Network, it's the women's turn when Northwestern squares off with Minnesota. As our doubleheader continues, coverage starts immediately following this match. Off the bar. Oh, what a chance from Marsh.
Right there on the doorstep, they pay for the bad clearance and nearly a goal to knot things up. Ohio State pushing forward.
Gable, Varzia, what a move this is. High and back to the Hoosiers.
Wow, we'll definitely want to get a look at that as well, but there's an opportunity here from the set piece. Long high ball and finds ahead, and then that was the clearance. We thought that was going to be the end of the play, but then it just rattles right back in off the post, and that was nearly the equalizer for Ohio State. But just moments ago, Varzia showing some flashes, maybe from his dad's bag of tricks there. Flipping the ball, getting some spin on it, and going around his defender and creating an opportunity. That's what Coach Bloom wants to see more of from the youngster.
Momentum has swayed a bit back towards the Buckeyes after Irizarry cut the deficit in half. Alston, a battle with Rome, as we'll have a substitution for the Hoosiers, and one that sparked them in the first half with Neil Wilmarth to come on.
Again, Will Bruin coming off, and this is the player we talked about at the top, one of the top high school recruits in the nation, and he really has not been a factor today. It's interesting that, of course, both of these teams were recruiting him in the offseason, but I'm sure they weren't they weren't alone in that.
Wilmarth, Noschang, cuts it inside. Couldn't keep it alive. Too many white shirts in the area.
Indiana in the offseason also landing Tommy Meyer, the only 2 freshman players who are on the active roster to get in and get some games. And Tommy Meyer also from St. Louis. So that little pipeline from St. Louis to Bloomington is paying off for them.
Becomes second nature in Bloomington. This left back for Alston. Comes forward once more. Noschang, Mellencamp wide.
A good idea by Mellencamp to strike it early and not give the defense a chance. Maybe catch Zakansky, maybe nap it a little bit. But that's really what you want to try to do on balls like that, because you know if the goalkeeper's got a good view of you, you're not going to fool anybody. But a one-time shot like that has a chance.
Zakansky sends forward from backline to backline, and then Che Kane has control.
Yeah, he still seems to, every time he takes a goal kick, that's what Coach Freitag said, it's the goal kicks that really get to him with that lower leg injury, but he seems to be doing okay.
Teamstra got it out of a crimson sandwich before it's turned back toward the Hoosier bench. It'll be a Buckeye throw. Gable. Good insoled first touch by McGill. Just to lean it down the sideline as Hagedorn knocks it away.
There's the punt from Kane, and I think he knows he knows it's coming. He knows the pain's coming, but he's just letting it go.
Continues to wince, but fighting through it.
Gotta like that. He's been playing for them his entire career, even like his freshman year. Got in a few games. He's been the starter from sophomore year on.
Gable drives one toward him, and not much effort required there. A little bunny hop from the keeper. Alexander sends it forward. Nose Chang, he's been their most dangerous in that final third. Away from Ohio State. Here's McGill, rubs shoulders with Alston, will get called for the foul.
Alston down after the collision there, and they're gonna come and take a look at him and see. Be a crucial injury, but we mentioned that they have the Tommy Meyer on the bench if they need him, but here's the collision, and it seems like just fell awkwardly there. He is still down.
So the Indiana training staff will take a look at Kevin Alston.
Yeah, then just as I said, Tommy Meyer's up, and mentioned that St. Louis pipeline from St. Louis to Indiana has been going back for a while. Here he is again going one-on-one. We'll see if it was definitely in the landing. Definitely not much in the collision, but he is still down there tending to him.
Had his first assist of the season as he set up Nose Chang on that brilliant second goal from the Hoosiers.
And he scored a great goal of his own against Notre Dame in a big win for this program. And
get your stuff off. Let's go. Let's go. Ready? Let's go.
Halfway through this second half with the Hoosiers leading by a goal.
All right.
And we will come back to check on the injured Kevin Alston after this. Indiana clinging to a one-goal lead halfway through the second half. Head coach Mike Freitag very adamant with his club at the half, and we had a unique opportunity to hear what he had to say.